that's what makes me tick. So when I'm down, I'm pulling up Sid and Sigafus
Yeah.
and BJ, and I'm sitting with my green books, and I go to the heart of chiropractic because that's the well. You don't trust chiropractic because you don't trust yourself.
I know that I have removed subluxation and that they can walk out and that they are going to get better.
Hello, friends. We are here for Adjust the Adjuster. I am bringing my chiropractor and chiropractic partner in life. I was about
don't
to say
say crime.
crime.
Don't say crime.
That's not it. We're not going back to jail for chiropractic, but we would.
We definitely
We'd
would.
rather not,
Yeah.
though. I digress. We are here for Adjust the Adjuster, and I'm bringing some of my favorite chiropractors to the microphone to answer a few short questions with impactful answers that I believe will help serve the profession and hopefully serve you, the chiropractor. So this is my brother, Dr. Derek, and we serve together at the Lighthouse in Wichita, Kansas. And I want to know, looking out at the profession as you see it today in 2024, and we kind of lay our hand over the chiropractic profession, what do you think is one of the primary subluxations for chiropractic as a whole today?
So one of the things I want, before I even hop into this, I want to thank you for doing this. I hope all of you that take time to stop and listen to this recognize how important this work is that you do, like coming to other chiropractors. I think I shared this with you, but a friend of mine that's a pastor shared with me how much of a fallout there's been within pastors. People that take care of people are having a really hard time right now. And I think that we see that even in chiropractic. It's really hard. And we deal with a lot of heavy stuff, and I think that's kind of part of it. But it's good to like take some time to listen to other chiropractors and pause and reflect and just see what you can be doing better and how you can be conveying chiropractic better. So, but when it comes to chiropractic specifically, one of the things that I love about chiropractic, if I could name just one thing, is that we get to know with certainty that when we adjust someone, they are better. Right? And we don't have to make them feel better, and we don't have to make things pop back into place even when things do cavitate. But we have to know with absolute certainty that when we lay our hands on someone and they get up, even if they get up and grimace, even if they get up and say, like, it's still kind of pinching, I know that I have removed subluxation and that they can walk out and that they are going to get better. They are going to feel better. All of those things are going to happen. But I think it's important for us as chiropractors, and I think we kind of ebb and flow in this like symptom game as chiropractors where like sometimes I feel like we get on our like, yeah, I'm principled and I'm only adjusting subluxations. And then we sometimes just forget, even when we get in the nitty gritty, it's like, oh, you got this shoulder. And like, so maybe if I do that one right there, it'll be all better. And it's not to say that you can't do those things, right? But if it's subluxated, adjust it. And if it's not, leave it alone. I think one of my favorite, I think it's BJ. It might have been DD. I think it was BJ. One of my favorite quotes is, you can hit people in the back of the head with a shovel and a lot of them would feel better. It's like, when I first heard that, it was like light bulb. It's like and he was so thoroughly obsessed. And I just recommend to people to look at and study BJ's life a little bit. He just was on a mission to make sure that chiropractic was as pure as it possibly could be. But that premise is that if it's subluxated, adjust it. And remember as the chiropractor that it is better once you've done that. And they are better
so
once you've done
there's a trust subluxation.
Yeah.
In that, and you hit a few, but in that, what do you think the adjustment is? If the subluxation is this kind of lack of congruency or lack of trust, what's the adjustment for that?
I think that you need to be rooted in what makes you tick. Hearing people that are science-based and numbers-based, Heidi Havik, that stuff makes me tick. I like reading that stuff. I need to be in that stuff for me to be really chiropractic rooted. I've got a lot of philosophy and a lot of hoorah, you know what I mean? And I love that stuff too, but I get enough of that. But you need to listen to what makes you tick. Sometimes people are the opposite, where they get down and they don't have enough hoorah. They need to be speaking life into people. And that is one thing that you've kind of helped me with as well, is just speaking life, telling people that they're well. What does he say in our book that you gave me? He says, I think this is another BJ quote, tell people what you're going to do.
Yeah. Do it.
Tell
them what you did.
And then tell them what you did.
Yeah,
and it's like,
it fleet. Yeah.
if you did that, when I started doing that, I was like, it's a lot easier
There's
than...
a certainty to
Yeah.
that. There's a rhythm to it, but it does. This is the adjustment for the adjuster. Where you got science, art, and philosophy, right? And where are you lacking?
Yeah.
Because at some
Yeah.
point you're
Yeah.
always going to be lacking, and
Right.
it might be your adjusting skills suck. So
Yeah.
it's hard for you. You don't trust chiropractic because you don't trust yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or maybe your philosophy isn't sound, or you went to a school where you didn't get it as much, like. Whatever it is, or
Yeah.
maybe you've been on isolation island and you're stuck on your own problems, and like I'm hitting some of the next question, but whatever it is, what makes you tick, what
Yeah.
fires you up. I love that Heidi's doing the research. I love that we're making gains. I love watching different groups that are, doing technique things. I am all fire, all heart. That's what makes me tick. So when I'm down, I'm pulling up Sid and Sigafus
Yeah.
and BJ, and I'm sitting with my green books, and I go to the heart of chiropractic because that's the well.
Yeah.
That's the fountain for me.
You're right.
But you're right on. You got to know what makes you tick, and I think we make that adjustment. So I do want to go into that next question, of like, you are somebody who graduated in 2019.
Yeah.
You worked your butt off through school, right? You had a baby, two by the time
Two.
you graduated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't recommend, but we did it,
Hey.
and life's here. We're great.
Hey, man.
It's just crazy.
Wife was also graduated at the same time.
Yep.
So you guys had a little bit of debt.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like a
It's
lot.
okay. It's fine.
And you worked with Amped. You were ready to like hit the ground running, and then
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah.
And nothing like you thought was going to go according
Yeah.
to plan.
Yep.
And so every challenge there's how many chiropractors out there right now, how many fresh students, even in school now or recently graduated, have hit these new challenges.
Yeah.
Like, I was really in the game at that point. So COVID didn't hit me the same as it hit some of you.
Sure.
What would you say if you picked, a couple of those subluxations and adjustments that like the chiropractor can make to get back on track? What do
Right.
you think some of those subluxations are on the ground in the trenches?
Yeah. I think it's just you can't lose your heart for what you're doing, and you can't let it start to affect, especially if you are the owner, you can't let it start to affect other parts of your business, because it's really easy to go like, poor me, like oh man, COVID's really. But luckily I had friends in Amped that they were going through it at the same time I was going through it. That was a huge help to me. Chiropractic Island, like we talk about that a lot. Like you can't be on Chiropractor Island, like where you're just by yourself and you don't have people in the trenches with you. And it's especially nice to be going through phases at the same time, right?
Yep.
So I had 3 other chiropractors and their families, and they were all going through it at the same time that we were. And so we could kind of like bounce ideas, but it was so good to have that outlet to say, hey, like I tried this and I didn't see the results I was looking for. And so then you kind of like tweak. And so that having that tribe was to me like you just can't be in isolation. But you also, not just with your tribe, but also like in your community, because it's really easy when things are not going well to just be like, I'm not going to network. I'm not going to go hang out with other people and other business builders and leaders in my community. But you have to. I really believe that was just like one of the best things that we did was we stayed plugged in and we just knew good people. Like I got a phone call from a friend today that I connected him with one of the people I met when we were building our business. And he was telling me how great it's been, how many people he's connected into. But like you can't stop doing that just because you're maybe not getting the results that you wanted to get, or you just can't give up at the first sign of pushback.
Yeah, and you got to like keep going. Sometimes it does take a village, and asking for help, because I remember, and this will come up a lot, just when Mom got sick, right, and the cancer came back in all of her bones, and I remember going like, I can't. She had the type of cancer that it was building in her bones, so you couldn't touch her, and I just remember being so angry at God and going like, chiropractic's failing me right now.
Right.
I can't even touch her.
Yeah.
And that's 2016. That took me years. And there's probably some levels I'm still reconciling, like, and it shook my truth. So tying a couple of what you're talking about, and the poor me's. So this is going to hit you maybe in societal circumstances, maybe in life circumstances, maybe with death, maybe with your own sickness. And so a couple things that, you speak that I bring up in my own, I know people are fielding.
Yeah.
You do have to get past the poor me. And that's not always easy for me to say, because I statistically know there are some of you out there who might even be suicidal, or you might have a terminal illness, or your significant other or child. Like, I don't take it lightly that we're telling you, like, get off the island. I'm speaking back to you. I feel like you are too, of like back to myself, where it's like, wake up, get back in the heart of chiropractic, get into the service. This is why the anchor above down is so big.
Right.
Because when it's in you versus your mission is anchored in bringing heaven to earth, that type of like,
Yeah.
So village is not just here on earth. It's,
yeah.
And I know that's big for you. I don't know if you want to share it. You got be strong and courageous on your shirt right now, but that's,
I mean, especially like, I mean, I'm okay to share, like when we were going through it in COVID, like when it first started, I mean, like we started our build out and then it was like the next day my contractor called me and was like, hey, have you heard of this COVID thing? And I was like, no, it'll be fine. We'll be good. Right. And then flash forward 2 months later, our build out was done. And then we were trying to get started and mask mandates started in our city, like the week that we opened. So it was like just all of these weird changes. Right. But I can remember going to church every Sunday with my wife, who's a chiropractor. Right. And my partner in the business, and like just sitting there, and we would sit in church and we would just cry because we knew that the things that the pastors were telling us were speaking life into us, that it was God telling us to stay on mission, right? It's like, and it wasn't that they were just speaking directly to us. It's just that we understood that God's principles are that he was going to put us where we needed to be at a certain time to do the work that he needed us to do. And we needed that at that time, and a time when we were like, forget this, like this is way too hard.
Help, I want out.
Yeah,
The hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and kids to feed. And there's just this no excuse, but it is universal intelligence, innate intelligence. So anything else you would speak out if, former you or struggling chiropractors out there, if do you feel anything else you'd want to?
Just to take that one step. Like it's the same things you probably would tell your patients. It's like, don't try to bite it all off right now. You don't need to get your business. You don't need to get your team or your associate chiropractors or your boss. You don't need to get them where you want them tomorrow. Make one step today, whether it's personally or it's in your business. It's one thing you've been thinking about. It's one thing you've been slacking on. It's one thing, and don't, again, to your point, it's like, don't guilt yourself that you haven't been doing it, because guess what? You're going to start doing it today and tomorrow's going to be great. So just the one thing that you think you've been thinking about, or the call that you need to make, or the person you want to connect with, just go do that today. That'll be your kickstart. That's it. And then you're going to be off and moving.
Forward, focused.
Onward and upward.
That's it. Onward. I took the words right out of my mouth. Guys, Dr. Devin, Dr. Derek, you will probably hear from us. But, like he said, the Adjustor initially was a fundraiser for a few friends of mine. And, I've watched some of my really good friends pay ultimate prices in sickness and suffering, divorce and disease, bankruptcy and despair, suicide. And it is, written on my heart. So I just want to have some conversations where there'll be more to come. And if there's any way we can support you, you can reach us here. You can hit me up by email. I have been very blessed with really good mentors and friends and siblings, and my husband's a chiropractor. Like, I am blessed to have a strong chiropractic tribe, and I know not everybody gets that. And and this is, part of the tithing that I hope more chiropractors consider doing, of reaching back and making sure that our brothers and sisters are taken care of, because there's never been a better time to be a chiropractor. And I do believe that the ball is on the tee for us to hit a huge home run in the years to come. And all of the chaos has major purpose, and we are the ones in a lot of ways that I think people will be looking for. So onward we go. We will see you next time.
Good to see you.